忍びの時代は終わる。
螺旋が
Again, and again. When it comes to Boruto and the exciting things that are about to happen in the next chapter, this is a topic that never runs out of fuel. There's always something to talk about. But for today in particular, here are my top 6 predictions for what I believe will happen in chapter 23. Quick disclaimer, guys, even though these are just predictions or analyses, I'll at least give some reasons, so it's not just complete nonsense. And without dragging it on any longer, here it is. The top 6 Boruto chapter 23 predictions in under 8 minutes. First, about Boruto. According to Kashin Koji, Boruto is done for, no doubt. This might not be the first time I've said this, but even though Koji has Shinjutsu and predicted that Boruto is done, I suspect that Boruto's story isn't actually over. I think Jura won't be defeated by Momoshiki, but rather the fight is just being postponed. Believe it or not, this is a recurring pattern in the Naruto or Boruto series. Overpowered villains are often paused or held off to give the protagonist time to grow or come up with a new strategy. But in this case, where Boruto is clearly cornered, this becomes a major challenge and a big question. Will there be a huge intervention that forces a delay? Or in other words, will the scene end in a way that lets Boruto escape or formulate a new plan? And once again, guys, let's set aside Jugen, Kawaki, or even Momoshiki for now. Because essentially, the appearance of Momoshiki would be inevitable if Boruto was truly done, if his body was going to be permanently taken over by him. So at the very least, that's a major reason why I don't really consider or support that option, especially if Kawaki shows up to help without his limiter. Isn't that ridiculous? Even then, he could only hold out, not actually deal any significant damage to Jura. So, in my opinion, this all circles back to divine intervention, just like in chapter 13, when Jura tried to end Boruto's life by launching a Biju bomb at him for the second time from afar, while Boruto was already on the brink of death. And that intervention was Togedama. Even though we know for a fact that in chapter 22, Jura ignored the 2 Togedama, Ryu and Matsuri. But what if, in the next chapter, Mamushi shows up and warns Jura to retrieve the Togedama of Ryu and Matsuri before they rot, right? Because if those Togedama rot, that would be a fatal mistake. There's a high chance that the souls of Matsuri and Ryu would be lost forever. But what do you guys think? What if Kawaki, Jugen, or even Momoshiki aren't the ones who intervene between Jura and Boruto? Then who is it going to be, guys? Still, based on my prediction, I don't think Masashi will let this end soon, especially when we've just reached chapter 22. And this second one is probably the same as the first, but at least Boruto resisted Momoshiki's full power intentionally. It is an absolute fact that Boruto deliberately does not use full power like karma or even shadow clones that drain a lot of chakra, because he does not want to be completely controlled by Momoshiki, because again, chakra is an absolute for the awakening of Momoshiki in Boruto's soul. And this explains why Boruto looks less strong in some fights. The third is senjutsu power or natural energy. Yeah, maybe, even though this sounds impossible because there is actually no confirmation of the existence of frog elders or even the influence of omnipotence on their entities, but if this is indeed something of a plot twist, it is likely that Boruto should already need or even master additional natural energy-based powers to match the power of divine tree people and the like. This leads to the possibility of Boruto developing a new mode based on natural energy, or maybe even a combination of karma plus senjutsu, or even at least a slight possibility of chakra kurama. Yeah, I know for this case it seems impossible, but who knows, right? So the point is, if indeed Rasengan is an absolute weakness that cannot be used as a natural counter to defeat Jura, then there should be another possibility of Boruto awakening or mastering a new mode of chakra energy absorbed from nature like his father. But if the case is Boruto, Masashi-sensei will make it in a better version than its predecessor, right? Just like the Sarada power he created as an absolute better version of its predecessor. Fourth is the summoner technique. Yeah, I don't know what percentage chance this will work, or even if this is possible or not. But let's go back to chapter 13, a flashback where Boruto was running away from a group of ninja chasing him. When Boruto was cornered, Koji appeared and used the Kuchiyose technique to help save him from those shinobi from another nation. But what if there's more to it? What if Koji actually had another plan in mind? Let me explain. Even though Koji said that Boruto is done, would he really just sit back and do nothing to save him? That doesn't make any sense, right? For this case, there are actually 3 possibilities. First, according to what I just said, Koji saved Boruto with the summoner technique through the toad that was always with him. Because with this technique, even if Boruto couldn't escape, Koji could have brought him back to base with his summoner technique. Then second, this is actually more risky. Koji should have known that besides Boruto, Jura's priority was his collaborator who became Boruto's accomplice for all the sources of information that Boruto knew that long before the Divine Tree people were born. And that's at least what Jura said. With Koji appearing as an intervention before Jura could kill Boruto, this could serve as a distraction, creating a chance for Boruto to survive. Third, this is the same as the second. Koji came as a distraction to save Boruto. But if Jura acts worse to Koji, at least Koji has used the Shadow Clone as an anticipation. So Boruto is safe and Koji is also safe. Because the Divine Tree Man certainly cannot distinguish between the real body and not. Just like Otsutsuki Ishiki, who was deceived by the Shadow Clone Kawaki. Fifth is a chance where Jura gets great potential as a Shinju entity. Outside of predicting when Jura should lose, we have to consider that if Boruto manages to defeat Jura, Jura still has a second chance or probability to power up from other Shinju or even Sumeaka. The point is this, guys. The Togodama we know today, it is the soul of the other Divine Tree humans, right? Well, with the possibility of Jura eventually losing against Boruto, what if he gets the chance to consume one of those Togodama or absorb the power of Sumeaka's army? Would this provide an opportunity for Jura to gain absolute power? Personally, if Jura consumes one of their Togodama, he should get a power-up. And if this does happen, I'm sure, and we can all agree that Jura will be the most dangerous entity of the monsters in the 4th Shinobi World War. What do you think? Sixth and final one. Jura is not the final villain like Madara we would expect if he was the strongest entity as the final villain. Rather, Jura is the gateway or link to the next enemy like Code, or even the revival of Ishiki in a new form. Perhaps a hybrid like Jubidara or Akebi. This hints that the real battle has yet to begin, and there are still many secrets of the Otsutsuki clan yet to be revealed. And as a conclusion to all this, Boruto will have to re-strategize, and not just to defeat Jura, but to control the Momoshiki, avoid the destruction of Konoha, and prepare for the greater Otsutsuki threat. Jura will be the key to transitioning into the next phase of the story, and Boruto's decision to withhold his power could be the gamble that saves the world, or at worst destroys it all. And yeah, that's it. And again, I won't deny if you say this is bullshit, but at least from some analysis and predictions, I believe in all of that. So, what do you guys think? Thanks for watching, like and subs. I'm Nim. See you in the next episode. Bye bye, Dada Bio.